Welcome to our series about the witnesses of the Book of Mormon. My name is Camrey Bagley Fox, and we are joined today by Dr. Gerrit Dirkmaat. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, as a Latter-day Saint woman myself, polygamy has always been a really uncomfortable subject that I don't like, that it's part of our church history. How can I reconcile that? Do you have any facts that would be?
Well, I mean, if you're asking me, is there an answer I can give you that will make you feel comfortable with plural marriage? The answer is no. Because feeling uncomfortable with that, it's so foreign to our culture, it's so foreign to our understanding of marriage and love that we will never feel 100% comfortable with it. On the bright side, no one, with any authority anyway, is asking us to practice it. No one's asking us to practice plural marriage. So we're not going to gain the same kind of testimony of the people in the past who practiced it. But you can read the testimonies of many Latter-day Saint women who did practice it, who are certain that it's a revelation from God, who had the exact same reaction that you have when they first heard of it. You read people like Phoebe Woodruff, who says that when I first heard of polygamy, I was so opposed to it that I felt myself becoming sick and wretched. You know, she couldn't even think of it. And then she said, once I became convinced that it was a revelation from the prophet Joseph Smith, I prayed at that all-important time in my life to know the truth. And she says God gave her the answer that she was to practice it. That sounds like incredible, incredible faith and sacrifice. But Phoebe Woodruff was an amazing woman who'd already made dozens of sacrifices for the church, had already been, thrown out by her family because she believed, had already buried children along the way. She had already decided that her faith was going with the church no matter what. Even she struggled with it. And really we have that from lots of women from this Nauvoo period when they talk about it. That when Joseph first talked to me about it, I said, absolutely not. I can think of Lucy Walker Kimball, and she says, when Joseph first told me about it, I was indignant and expressed myself to him because it was entirely opposed to anything I'd ever been taught. But he told me that I was entitled to receive an answer for myself, and I prayed and received that witness. That's why she practiced it and believed it. I can't get inside of Lucy Walker's head and say, you never actually felt that. She's saying that she did. She's maintaining her faith in the church. She's following it to Utah. Even after that, I have to take her at least at her word that she really believed that. Mm. And hopefully that provides some comfort to us when we're trying to figure out what's going on in the past. But it is the most natural reaction in the history of the world to hear about plural marriage and to say, I don't think so. Yeah, that's called being a person. That's normal.
I actually love hearing like a historian talk about this objectively because like you said, it's an uncomfortable topic for most people who
it's an uncomfortable
know
topic
about it.
For me.
Yeah, and it's always been a tough one for me. And in the film I played Emma Smith, and I can't help but think of like her situation and how hard that would, like if I put myself in her shoes. And it's actually kind of comforting that we don't know that much about it. Like obviously it would be nice to have some concrete sources, but at least for me, I feel like hearing, okay, this is what we do know, this is what we don't know, makes it easier for me to be like, okay, this is probably something that I'm never gonna have a full grasp on in this life at least, and I'm probably always gonna be uncomfortable with it. And so I can turn to the things that I do have a testimony in and build from there. And it's not that we should ignore the things that are uncomfortable. I think it's important to learn more about them and to delve into those, but I find comfort in not knowing all the answers.
Well, I mean, it's not only a very mature position of faith to take to say, I don't know the answer to this and I might not. I mean, the reality is, just historically speaking, with the records that we have, having a perfect knowledge of how plural marriage was received as a revelation, when it was first implemented, how it was implemented in every case, those records don't exist. Mm. Now, we do have some records. I don't want it to come across that Joseph Smith didn't actually teach and practice plural marriage, which he of course did. We have better records of his Nauvoo plural marriages, but even those marriages, we have very little detail and almost no contemporary, meaning sources from the time, where people are talking about how those marriages worked, how they function. You know, were these just simply sealings here, and then this one was a marriage in every sense of the word, or the reality is you can spin yourself in circles trying to figure out, and with a lack of sources, sometimes people will state what they think is the case as opposed to what is provable is the case. And everybody who has to deal with the fact that our church once practiced and taught plural marriage has to do exactly what you did. At some point, they have to come to terms with, I don't understand this. I don't understand it now. I don't think I'm ever going to understand this. Thankfully, no one's asking me to practice it, so I don't even have to come to that conclusion. But what do I know? I know that the Book of Mormon's true. I know that it's true because I've read it and God told me that it's true. I know that the witnesses saw the plates and saw the angel. I know that Joseph Smith communed with Jesus. There are parts of the truth that are so powerful that hopefully they can be that tide that kind of raises our ship just a little bit over the rocks of doubt when it's things that we just don't seem to understand. I've studied, Joseph Smith and church history and American history for most of my life at this point. And I have all kinds of questions that I don't have answers to. That's really frustrating because I should be able to get an answer to everything.
Yeah, you should be the guy with the answers.
Which maybe is just a commentary on I'm not doing a very good job, right? But I don't think you'll ever get to a place where you have an answer for every single question that you have in this life. And so that's why faith is so central to what we believe. Are we willing to give up these beautiful truths that we do have? Because I don't have an answer for a question that I have. And for me, I'm not willing to do that. I mean, earlier this year, my youngest brother suddenly, unexpectedly died. And it was catastrophic. That the fact that I know that my brother is going to be resurrected, that his family will be with him in the next life, is the most beautiful thing to know. And just a little bit takes a little bit of that empty part inside my soul that's now gone because he's gone. Because I know he's going to live again. And for me, the truth of the knowledge of those things, they help me get past the things that are so difficult, that the questions I can't find answers for, the why did God let this happen? I don't have an answer for all of them, but I still believe that Joseph was a prophet of God. The revelations he received were from God. The Book of Mormon is from God, and that certainty carries me through my difficulties.
Thank you.
Joseph was dead, the young church balanced on a razor's edge. For grieving saints, there was no tested path, no definitive word on who should lead. But mere hours following Joseph's death, some began to campaign, while others looked for revelation from God.
Be a part of the next chapter. Visit 6daysinAugust.com.